published 0829 Est, the 10th of November 2017, updated 1103 Est, the 10th of November 2017. For Eddie Hearn, there is more to this week's trip to New York than discussions over a potential heavyweight megafight between Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. On Saturday, the Matchroom promoter makes his first venture into the U.S. market, with recent signing, middleweight Miracle Man Danny Jacobs, headlining a packed show in Uniondale. The bill offers Hearn the chance to establish himself as a promotional competitor to the likes of Bo Burnham and Lou DiBella. But at the Nassau Coliseum this weekend, the matchmaker will not be the only fresh-faced Brit hoping to make a good first impression across the Atlantic. Conor Benn, son of legendary fighter Nigel, makes his American debut on Saturday night. The 21-year fights Brandon Sanudo on a bill topped by Daniel Jacobs left and Luis Arias. Benn has won all 9 of his career fights since entering the professional ranks in April 2016. Earlier on the bill, 21-year-old welterweight Conor Benn makes his U.S. debut against Brandon Sanudo in only his 10th professional bout, and much like his promoter, Benn will be hoping Saturday's bill will provide another opportunity for him to gain experience and, more crucially, prove he is more than his father's son. During the late 1980s and 1990s, Nigel Benn, an election and immensely brave competitor, helped usher in a golden era of British boxing. Alongside Steve Collins, Chris Eubank and Michael Watson, the Dark Destroyer was part of a standout series of domestic dust-ups that transcended the sport and turned very good fighters into household names. His father Wright was part of a golden era of British boxing alongside the likes of Chris Eubank. The Celtic Warrior Steve Collins left and Michael Watson formed the famous quartet. Those are the ashes from which Conor and half-brother Harley 20 have risen to forge their own ring careers. You can think, am I where I am because I'm a good fighter, or because of my dad? He recently told The Times. People say, oh, you can be this, but is that because of him? Being the son of one of this country's most loved fighters has brought them instant fame and recognition, the like of which most professionals with a combined record of 110 could only dream. But the association has cast a long and dark shadow over their attempts to make their own way in the sport. Conor, whose father often watches from ringside, has adapted his Dark Destroyer moniker. Conor operates a few divisions below his father, who won world titles at both middleweight and super middleweight, but the pressure he is under to emulate SNRS achievements way far heavier than the dozen or so pounds that separate them on the scales. Not that he has made much attempt to eschew his father's influence. Rather, much like Chris Eubank Jr., Benn has embraced his fighting heritage. The welterweight uses the adapted moniker The Destroyer, while Nigel is a regular ringside spectator at his son's fights. Like father like son is also tattooed on his neck, just as it is on SNRS bicep. I want to elevate the Benn name. I want to be a credit to the Benn name. But, if I can, I also want to do it better than my dad. Maybe not as savage as him, but then we are driven by different things, he said. I grew up with some luxury, he didn't. He came from hard stock. He went into the army. He had that spitefulness in the ring. I come from a different place. I want to elevate the Benn name. I want to be a credit to the Benn name. Conor has said his journey to Uniondale's Nassau Coliseum has not been without obstacles. But it is controversy and injury that have proved tougher to shake off than any opponent he has faced in his burgeoning career. The welterweight, still only 21, had moved to 60 within 6 months of his professional debut when in January he hit the headlines for all the wrong reasons. Benn was forced to apologize after being caught on camera mocking fellow fighter Robin Deacon, who was born with club feet. The saga coincided with the start of a 6-month layoff for the prospect as the momentum he had built in the paid ranks threatened to evaporate. He has returned in style, with 3 devastating stoppage wins since July, and on Saturday he has the chance to begin his ascent up the mountain of stateside success. Benn can begin to forge a U.S. following with victory over Sanudo in Uniondale on Saturday. Beating the 76 Sanudo on Saturday will cause few earthquakes in the Big Apple and beyond. But another impressive display could help make the smallest of tremors among an audience already familiar with the Benn dynasty. His father had only 5 fights in the States and missed the chance to pit himself against the Four Kings Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns and Marvin Hagler, whose decade-long rivalry during the 1980s reinvigorated the sport in the U.S. by the time he flew across the Atlantic for his American debut. A unanimous decision victory over Jorge Amparo in October 1989. Benn was 25 and only 3 fights away from beating Doug Jewett to win the WBO World Middleweight crown. The chance to secure such honors will elude Conor for now. But at 21, and with an exciting style and an ever-growing reputation, Saturday's bout provides the perfect platform for Conor Benn to take another step out of the shadow and into the bright lights.